Hi, I'm Lenora Bresler. Welcome to the March 7th, 2017 edition of the Bible Delight in the Details. Yes, I know I have not had a Delight in the Details episode since last Wednesday. My family has been very sick, and we're also very busy with something going on, which I may have an announcement later to make. But anyway, it has been just very difficult, so I'm sorry for the delay. But I'm back. I'm back. Today on this edition, we want to talk about, have you ever had a situation where you thought you would be in a very different situation at a particular time in your life? Maybe you found yourself at one of those milestone birthdays and you're thinking, I'm not where I thought I was going to be by now. Or maybe it's not about time, it's about just a phase in your career, and you're just thinking, man, this is not what I expected. I want to talk about David, King David. Good old David, we think about him in his heyday. We think about him on the glory days. We think about him mostly, most people do anyway, when he was a very young person with all that bravery and all that faith in God that caused him to be able to go and defeat Goliath. Well, then we think about him, possibly, we think about him later, a middle-aged person having apparently a bit of a midlife crisis and bringing some issues on himself when he got involved with Bathsheba in clear sin and brings about all kind of problems. But what a lot of people don't know is that in Kings and Chronicles, we find out that King David wound up literally on the run. As an older man, probably in his 60s, maybe even early 70s, he is cast out of his capital city, Jerusalem, on the run in the hills. And who's done this? His own beloved son, Absalom, whom he apparently loved. Now, David hadn't been the best dad in the world, frankly, and we can go into that later, but I don't think he deserved this. And yet, he is actually on the run, having to leave his palace, his home, his capital, his entourage is on the run with him. He's worried about people defecting. Some of his lieutenants are defecting to his son. Others are threatening to kill his son. It was a terrible, terrible time. You've got to know that David was sitting there somewhere out in a cave or out in a bush somewhere on the run for his very life, thinking, I've come to this? This is where I am at age 60 or 65 or 70. A dispossessed king, rebellion in the kingdom, primarily by my own son. He had got to be past frustrated. He had to be in absolute despair. And yet, he still had faith in God, and he still carried on. Sometimes when you're taken aback by life, when you're kind of surprised by the way things work out, you've got to be like David. You've got to just keep going. And you know what? Eventually, he was able to return to his capital, and he died as the king. And that usurper, Absalom, he passed from the scene. Now, I know it's difficult. I know that sometimes, we like our little plans and we have our plans and maybe we think they're good plans. But God has his own ideas, and he has reasons for why he has us go through things. And there is, in the Bible it says, man has his plans, but God directs the steps of the man. So whatever your plans are, you need to hold them a little loosely, because God may intervene. He may have different plans for you. Try not to be shocked. Try not to be disheartened, as it is so easy to be. Try not to be critical or disloyal to God at those moments. But be like David, and even in the midst of great turmoil and personal conviction and personal upset, remember, God has a plan. You will return to the glory days, whatever those are, because God has us and our best interests at heart. I'm Lenora Bresler. Visit me tomorrow on the next edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. Good night.